If you want to make that program has to work on the internet, on that case, we have to launch your program. When they come on structure of HTML, HTML contains two parts. One is head part and one more is body part. And XML document is always constrained to be well formatted. And the server is the one who always provides services to the client. Welcome back to one and all. Myself, Vasanta, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Today, I want to start with a revision class on web designing. Whereas in the annual exam, from this chapter, you can expect two questions. In part A, one question for 1 marks, as well as in part C, one question for 3 marks. Total 2 questions, but the total weightage of this chapter is 4 marks. 1 marks, 1 question, 3 marks, 1 question you can expect from this chapter. Whereas on this chapter, you will study regarding what do you mean by web designing, what do you mean by HTML, that is hypertext markup language, then what do you mean by web scripting, how to write the web scripting, then how to perform web hosting, what do you mean by web hosting, how to perform web hosting, then the general structure of HTML. These are the major concepts you will study on today's session. First, we will discuss on 1 marks question, what is HTML? You can expect the question or define HTML or what is HTML. In the question, if you have defined HTML, then you have to define, or in the question you can expect expand HTML also. Expand HTML if you get, then hypertext markup language. Whereas HTML is a hypertext markup language which makes it possible to present information on the internet, or using this HTML we can able to create the web pages. Helps to create the web pages. When they come on, who invented the HTML? Tim Berners-Lee developed this HTML concept. What is web scripting? This is also 1 marks question. The name itself suggesting scripting, writing. Here, the process of creating and embedding script in a web page is known as web scripting. It's a process of creating and embedding the script in a web page is called as web scripting. Next, we have web hosting. When you come on hosting, for example, consider you have created one HTML program. That means you have created one web page. That program will work only on your system. If you want to make that program has to work on the internet, on that case, we have to launch your program. That is nothing but web hosting. That is launching of your web page on the internet is called as web hosting. Whereas web hosting is a hosting web server application on a computer system through which electronic contents on the internet is readily available to the web browser. To any web browser, they can able to access if you launch your website here. That is, web hosting is nothing but launching the website as well as web page here. Next question, for 1 marks you can expect, what is XML? XML stands for Extended Markup Language. Extended Markup Language. You can also expect expand XML, that is Extended Markup Language for document containing structured information. Structured information contains both contents and some indication of what role that contents play here. Here, XML is an advanced version of markup language. Advanced facilities we are getting here. Next one, what is DHTML? DHTML stands for Dynamic Hypertext Markup Language. It's a dynamic hypertext markup language. It is a collective terms for a combination hypertext markup language, and it tags options that are can make web pages more animated and interactive than previous version of HTML. It's an advanced version of HTML that is dynamically we can able to interact with your web pages here. That means, whereas if you want to give bold color in HTML, we will make bold style or particular color, then we are using the tags. For example, if I want to make the text as bold, then B tag here we are using. If I want to give color for your document, then color tag there we have to use in HTML. Whereas here, dynamically I can change the color, I can able to change the designs, everything. That's why it is called as dynamic hypertext markup language, the advanced version of HTML. The next one is explain the structure of HTML. Whereas in HTML, already I told you, it contains two parts. One is head part and one more is body part. In head part, it contains the title, and in the body part, it contains the actual information. Whereas HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is mainly used to create the web pages. When you come on the general structure of HTML, first we have HTML that you have to write inside the angle bracket. Then inside the HTML we have head, then we have title, and then we are closing title tag. Then afterwards we have to close the head part. It means that here we have opened the head and here we are closed the head. Here we have opened the title and here we are closed the title. Then you have to open the body. Inside the body, whatever statement you want, you can write. Then closing body, finally closing HTML. It means that first one, it indicates the beginning of HTML. The head, it indicates the beginning of the head section. Title indicates the title name of the HTML. And closing head, it indicates the end of the heading section. And body, it indicates the body of HTML document. Whereas here, the last one, that indicates the end of the body. Finally, it indicates the closing of HTML tag. For example, I want to display some information like A, B, C, D. Then how to write? First, HTML I have to write. Inside HTML, you have head part. Inside the head, we have title. Whatever title, here we used to write the title. Write down whatever title you want. Then, for example, X, Y, Z. Then, close the title. Then, close head. Then, afterwards, open the body. Here, whatever statement you want, you can display A, B, C. Whatever you want, you can write. If you want to display everything in one by one, then we are using BR tag. After that, close the body. After closing the body, the one more is remaining, that is HTML. Finally, you have to close the HTML tag. This is the example to explain the general structure of HTML. There we have head, title, then body, then afterwards you have to close the HTML. This is the general structure of HTML. This you can expect for 3 marks with example also. Next question. Here, how do you register a domain? When you come on domain name system, that is DNS, consists of a hierarchically organized directory of all domain names. Step 1, here you have to determining the name, which name you want to give. Then think about the name of that, for which purpose we are giving, getting an ISP and web host, then domain name server. Then next afterwards you have to register for that. After that, why should set up a domain name? That reason you have to mention. Then what is the domain name alias or domain alias, for which purpose, which name, what is another name for that? Everything you have to say here, that is while registering a domain name. Next question, give the features of XML. XML stands for, already I told you, Extended Markup Language. Whereas it is a text-based markup language. We are using the text here. And XML document is always constrained to be well formatted. And here XML has no tags, specific tags we are not using. whereas XML is a case sensitive. What do you mean by this case sensitive? If you write in capital letter, then it will going to give different meaning. If you're going to write in small letter, then it will going to give different meaning. Whereas in HTML, it is not a case sensitive. There you can write in uppercase as well as smaller case. It will work properly. Whereas in XML, if you write in capital letter as well as in small letter, on that case, it will going to give different meaning. And here, we does not have any specific tags here. The user, whichever tag they want, they can use here. Whereas in HTML, there must and should be, we have to use the predefined tag only. For example, if I want to make the text as bold, then compulsory I have to use B tag. If I want to make the text as italic style, then I tag we have to use. If I want to give color, then color tag. There's compulsory spelling COLOR only I have to use. Whereas here, there is no specific tags like that. The user can develop their own tags here. That is in XML, that is extended markup language. Next, give the features of DHTML. DHTML, that is Dynamic Hypertext Markup Language. When we come on features of DHTML, an object-oriented view of web page and its element is possible here. And here, cascading style, sheet and the layering of contents is possible here. With that, programming that can address all or most page elements here. And with that, dynamic fonts we are getting. Whichever font, whichever color you want, dynamically we can able to change here. If I just move the cursor on that point, automatically the color, styles, everything we can able to change here. Whereas in HTML, it is not possible. When they come on features, here dynamic font we have and programming that can address almost all pages elements here. These are the few features of DHTML, that is Dynamic Hypertext Markup Language. Next question, when they come on for 3 marks, there you get the question, write the difference between client-side scripting and server-side scripting. Whereas in client-side scripting enables interaction within a web page here. But when they come on server-side scripting, enables the completion or carrying out a task at server end only. And when they come on client-side scripting, the client-side scripting is browser dependent. Which browser we are using here? Whereas here, when they come on server-side scripting is not dependent on browser, which browser we are using. Whereas here, it mainly depends on the browser. Here, it does not depend on the which browser we are using. There, if you want, you can use Mozilla Firefox or Google Chrome. Whichever browser we want, we can able to use here. That is independent of web browser. And here in client-side scripting is used when the client-side interaction is used here. And here server-side scripting is used when the information is sent to a server to be processed at the server end only. When you want to do any changes at the server end, then we are using server-side scripting. There is a difference between client as well as server. When they come on client, the client is the one who just orders the items. And the server is the one who always provides services to the client. Whichever resources the client wants, that resources is provided by this client only. That means when you want to purchase client as well as server, the server cost will be more, but the client cost will be less here. This is regarding client-side scripting. Already I told you, scripting is nothing but creating, embedding the web pages. There are 2 types, client-side scripting as well as server-side scripting. Here, clients will do, here the server will perform their action. Then, we will move on to the next question. There, what is web hosting? Mention different types of web hosting. Whereas already told you, when you come on hosting is nothing but launching our web page, website on the internet. Whereas website is a collection of web pages. How, for example, you have developed one program, that program will work only on your system. If you want to make that program has to work on the internet, then you have to launch that program. On that time, that launching of that program can be called as web hosting. There is hosting web server application on a computer system through which electronic contents on the internet is readily available to any web browser client. Anybody can able to access here is called web hosting or website hosting. When they come on types of web hosting, there are 4 types. One is free hosting. Free hosting is nothing but free of cost. We can able to launch our application. We can able to launch our program free of cost. Without any payment, we can able to make that program can work on the internet. But here, this program will work only for limited period of time. Permanently, we cannot able to make that program has to work. Then, virtual or shared hosting. Here, especially one website we have. On that website, with the help of another website, we are accessing here. We are launching our website. Consider we have one college website. On that college website, I am also introducing my website inside that. If I want to click on particular point, particular place, then my website will open there. That is shared or virtual hosting. And the next one is dedicated hosting. Dedicated here. This type of hosting is to perform particular type of work only. They are only responsible to do their all actions. If there is any problem arises, then this dedicated hosting, that person only is responsible to take care of all the transaction. If there is a place problem or resource problem, everything is controlled by them only. That is dedicated hosting. And the last one is co-location hosting. These are the different types of web hosting. Now it's clear. Next we'll move on to the next question, that is explain any 3 formatting tags. Formatting means the name itself suggesting making some changes. Especially we are changing the style of that. Under that we can use B tag. B tag is also formatting tag. We can able to format the text in bold style. I tag, we can make the text as italic style. Then U tag helps to give an underline for your text. Then small tag to display the data in smaller size. Then big tag, this is used to increase the size of your text especially. Whereas these are the few text formatting tag. Text formatting, the name itself suggesting changing the font especially here. That is, if I want, I can change it as bold, italic, underline, small, big. If I want, I can use H1 tag, H2 tag, up to H6 tag also I can use. Whereas H1 tag will make the text in heading format, that is in larger size. If you use that H6 tag, then it will display the text in smaller size. Next, we will move on, explain few resizing tags. Whereas the name itself suggesting resizing, only we can able to change the size here. On that, we are using the big tag. This big tag will help to make the text, whatever text inside this here written, that the text will display in larger size. Then small tag. This helps to display your text in smaller size. Here, for example, if I am going to write small Mysuru, then here I am going to close a small tag, and here I am using one more tag, big tag Mysuru. Then here I am closing the big tag. Then if you observe the result, then first it will display Mysuru in larger size, then later on it will display the same Mysuru in smaller size. These are the few tags we are using. With that, if I want, I can use H1 tag. Whereas H1 tag will display the data in biggest heading format. Here, for example, if I use that H1 tag Mysuru, then here I am closing H1 tag only. Then it will display Mysuru in very highlighted format. Mysuru, it will display. Mysuru, it will display. That is in bold format, it will display. See here it will in larger size, smaller size, whereas here in bold style, especially in big heading format, it will display the data. These are the few resizing tags we are using in HTML. Next, we will move on, explain any 3 text layout tags. Text layout means this is mainly used for paragraph breaking purpose. And here we are making the text has to be displayed in some particular layer format. Under that we have P tag. Here this P tag will help to display the data in a paragraph format. It means that it will going to leave one line and then it will display the data, that is paragraph tag. And closing paragraph tag is optional. If you want, you can use, otherwise you can no need to use also. If you use it one more P tag, then automatically it will consider as a new paragraph tag. And one more tag is center tag. This center tag helps to display your data at the center of your document. Here inside this, whatever text you will write, that will display at the center. Paragraph tag as well as center tag. With that, we can use one more tag, that is BR tag. First one paragraph tag, center tag and BR tag. Whereas BR tag is used to display the line break here. When you want to do a single line break, then we are using this BR tag. This BR tag helps to move the text into the next line. Here, it will no need to closing this BR tag, only opening BR tag is enough. It means that line break will perform here. These are the few text layout tags, because for 3 marks you can expect the general question of HTML or general structure of HTML, or what you mean by text formatting tag, resizing tag as well as page layout tag. Like that you can expect for 3 marks. It means that on today's class you have studied regarding what do you mean by web hosting, what do you mean by web scripting. When you come on web hosting, it is nothing but launching the application on the internet. Whereas HTML is used to create web pages. The collection of web pages can be called as website here. And here, when you come on HTML, we have advanced version also, that is DHTML, that is dynamic hypertext markup language, XML, extended markup language. By that also we can able to create our web pages here. Then what do you mean by web scripting? That is nothing but is the creating of embedding the web pages. Then web hosting, web scripting, web page, then website. Then under that you have studied how to write the general structure of HTML. While writing the general structure, the HTML contains 2 parts. One is head part and one more is body part. In the head part, it contains title. In the body part, it contains actual information. How exactly this will work? Inside the head, you have title also, whereas in the body part, we have actual information. What do you mean by text formatting tag? That means helps to format your text. Then what do you mean by resizing tags? Whereas resizing tag helps to resize your text. Whichever size you want, you can give resizing tags, text formatting tag as well as page layout tag. Or in the exam, you can explain any 3 tags used in HTML also. These are the major questions you can expect from this chapter. Thank you for all of you.